Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Vinyl Talk with Tavis. And I'm Tavis. I know it's been a while since I've seen you, but a lot's been going on. But I'm glad to be with you today. I tell you, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. It is from May the 3rd through the 7th, and today is the 5th of May, 2021. So behind me, I have a lovely display that I wanted to use as a backdrop, but I guess it's not big enough, but it'll do. What if I do this? Let's see. What if I just do this? Hold on. Let's see. There we go. That looks that looks pretty good. I've been using it on my TikTok videos. If you don't follow me, pardon my hand. If you don't follow me on TikTok, go ahead and do that. My students, I'm sorry, my hand is all in the way. My students have gotten me addicted to TikTok. So now I have more followers on TikTok than I do my YouTube channel. So it's been really fun to, come on now. I'm so sorry. It's been fun learning about how to do the transitions and how to make videos and all those things and all the fun little things you can do with TikTok and make it really fun within like a minute's time. So I do lots of singing. I give some music teacher tips. Sometimes I talk about records. But mostly it's just like a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have a certain niche. I say that I'm a music teacher. I say that I'm a performer, singer, songwriter, vinyl collector, YouTuber with a YouTube channel. So go ahead and check me out on TikTok, and it's just Tavis Minner. Just my name. There's nothing special. But go ahead and check me out on there. And because this is Teacher Appreciation Week, I wanted to encourage you that if you have any children, and if they are attending school, be sure to celebrate their teachers. I'm sure that the kids have been coming home telling you about it and encouraging you to buy something special for their teachers. And that includes all of them, not just their classroom teacher. What about their music teacher and their art teacher and their PE teacher? And so far I've received like lots of candy, some plants. I've received some soda, some gift cards. So we always appreciate this time of year, and it's really not about the gifts themselves, but it's about the recognition and the acknowledgement of the hard work that a teacher does every single day. So if you are a teacher, I recognize you at this time, and I celebrate you along as I celebrate myself. So thank you so much for being a part of this channel if you're watching. And we're going to go ahead and start with some records that I've purchased recently in the past few weeks. Let me have some Dr. Pepper here. Oh, and I want to give a shout out to NammaN, his channel. His name is NammaN, but his channel's name is JOAMON, which stands for Jack of All, Master of None. And I think he started out with vinyl as a vinyl channel, or maybe he didn't, but he kind of moved into that realm. But he just does a montage of things, and he is such a talented person. So he can draw really, really, really wonderfully. And I told him he was drawing some characters from television, and I'm like, NammaN, is it possible that you can draw me? And he said that he would. Come on, Tavis. There you go. He said that he would. And so he started drawing me on his channel. And so I'm giving him a shout out. I don't know if he's finished yet, but I can't wait to see the finished product, and hopefully I can use it on my Instagram and maybe use it as a thumbnail for, or a picture for my YouTube channel as well. So thank you, NammaN. Again, I'm going to have his channel in the link below. Again, it is Joamon. I think it's Jamin. Jack of all, master of none. And I love that. And he is a very sincere, sweet soul. NammaN, if we could ever meet up one day, I think we'd have a blast. We just talk about music and talk about life and how you lived in Oklahoma and I lived in Oklahoma. So just got to let you know how much I appreciate you. Okay, as you can tell, I have on this Studio 54. I've been having a Studio 54 crazy fantasy. If you've watched my channel long enough, I've said this many times. I always said that if I were this age, maybe 10 years younger, maybe in my 30s, and if I lived in the 70s, you would probably see me at Studio 54 all the time. I think I think it was meant for me not to be alive or at a certain age where I could party hard, because I would probably be, I don't know. But I just love the idea of Studio 54 and all the people that went to that nightclub. And there's a great documentary on YouTube. In fact, there are many, but just search up Studio 54 documentary, and it talks about how it all started. So I have this little write-up here. And so Studio 54, if you're not familiar with it, if you're too young to understand, it was a nightclub located at 254 West 54th Street between 8th Avenue and Broadway in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, okay? And Steve Rubell and Ian Schrager, they opened up the nightclub in 1977. Its final party was on February the 2nd or the 3rd in 1980, when Diana Ross, my first celebrity crush, and Liza Minnelli, they serenaded Rubell and Schrager, the owners of the club, and they were guilty. They were found guilty to tax evasion, and they spent 13 months in prison. And therefore, the club had to close down. They had to sell it. In fact, I think they sold the club while they were in prison. So there's a big story about how they had all these crazy sex parties, and they had lots of, I'm not saying that I wanted to be a part of it. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Look, I knew I'd just be dancing the night away if I were at the club. Infamously known for Rubell being the head honcho and letting only certain people in with a certain style and a certain look. Because I was so fascinated, and I'm still fascinated with Studio 54, I happened upon this on eBay. And this is a double LP set made in 1979, a year before Studio 54 closed. They were putting out albums, or mixes, if you will, of songs that they would play in their club. Disco was at the height at that time. So on here, strangely enough, this 2-album set, which is, I must say, is in very good condition. It plays beautifully, and I love how it plays. It goes from one song to the next without fading. It just leads into the next song with the same tempo. Great music. It's a great collector's item for me. I think it's great. It has songs from the Village People. It has songs from Chic. It has songs from Dan Hartman, Instant Replay. It has Peaches and Herb, Cheryl Lynn, Got to Be Real. It also has Chic, La Freak, and they're singing Freak Out. And there's a story about that. ironically, that's the first song on the first album, the first side. And they wrote that song because they could not get into Studio 54. They went home and they were so upset that they could not get in that they wrote the song called Freak Out. La Freak, so chic, freak out. But it wasn't originally titled that. They first started out with it being, fuck off. La Freak, so chic, fuck off. They were so mad that they just wanted to write a song to tell Studio 54 to fuck off. And that's exactly what they did. But then they said, we can't sell this record. It won't sell. So they changed it to Freak Out. And then it's on this album. So I guess apparently they finally got into Studio 54, and there you have it. So I'm so glad to own my Studio 54 shirt. I love disco music. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's keep moving on. Look, I finally got James Brown, The Payback. Man, this album is phenomenal. Ooh-wee. Look at that. Man, I got this from Amazon, and I got this one from eBay. I'm very proud of this one. But I love that artwork of James Brown. If I'm not mistaken, this was supposed to be a soundtrack album, but it didn't turn out like that, apparently. And so James Brown just made it his own album. So The Big Payback is the song. The Payback is just a great song. And actually, every song on here is good. Doing the Best I Can, a great ballad. Doing the best I can. I'm just a man. I mean, just, James Brown at his, I wouldn't say his peak, but I think he had reached his peak, but he was changing. His style was just changing a little bit, and he was just, he was in the 70s vibe, and I love James Brown music. If you can find the James Brown album used, it's going to be very expensive. But I'm glad that they at least had this, a repress or reissue, and it's on Amazon, and I'm so glad to have it. I love me some James Brown. Now, I recently spoke about Tina Turner and how they have this great documentary about her on HBO Max. And so I was doing some digging, and every time I see this album, I get it. I don't know, I just feel like it belongs to me. I think I have like 3 or 4 copies of this already. But I saw a Japanese version of Private Dancer. Can you tell? See? The Japanese version of, and look at this. This is not in the US version that I can recall. It has this picture of Tina, and on the inside, it's all in Japanese. I spent some money on this show. I tell you what, I'm so proud of it. And I've noticed, I've said this all the time, that Japanese releases, they look so much better than American releases. It just seems to have a different sheen, or I don't know what it is. It just seems different. There's just a shine to it that I don't have on my American version of this. And it sounds absolutely stupendous. And this is a used copy. But it sounds like mint condition. There's not a single sound of static on here at all. So every time I see Japanese pressings, I go for it. I don't care what they say. I will buy me a Japanese version any time of the day. So I'm putting this back in here. Oops, I'm having some problems, but I'll take care of that in a moment. And then I had to find, when I found this, I had to get it. okay? And oh my. Streisand and Christopherson, A Star is Born. I have not seen the new Star is Born with Lady Gaga and that other gentleman. I've only seen this. And I'm really proud of this. I love this movie. I love this soundtrack. This is the, I love me some Beyonce, but to me, this is the original Queen Bee, Barbra Streisand. And I tell you what, just phenomenal photos inside. And when she sings love, soft as an easy chair, ever green. And she holds that note. Woo! I may have to play it on this keyboard before I leave. Next, this is one of those albums where I get it every time I see it too, because this is my favorite album cover of all time. Speaking of disco and Studio 54 and Chic, you have to have Sister Sledge. I've showed this before, but when I saw it 2 weeks ago at another store, at another record store, I bought this. It's used, but it was in great condition, and I had to get it. The record is at home. I don't have the record in here, but Sister Sledge, this is by far my favorite. Do you have a favorite album cover? I think there was a thread going around a while back, but this is my favorite album cover of all time, because when I was a boy, I would sit and stare at this album cover for hours. I just thought it was so beautiful. And I would say to myself, why is Kathy looking away? And why is she looking this way? And why is she the only one, and she the only one staring at the camera so sensuously? But this album, I need to do a top 20 R&B album tag or something like that. This is definitely in my top 20 of my favorite R&B albums of all time, because I can listen to every song without stopping. Love it. Sister Sledge, 1979. The 70s. I love the 70s. Now we're going to get into some gospel music. If you are familiar with the Winans, are you familiar with Vicki Winans? Okay, this came out in 1991 on MCA Records. This is called The Lady. And I want you to know that this was a very controversial album back in the day, because, first of all, she was originally on Light Records, which was a very Christian-oriented label. Then she moved to MCA Records, and the music is very contemporary, very, what is that? New Jack Swing. In the 90s, you know, that New Jack Swing was out. It has those type of beats, great R&B songs. Sometimes you don't know who she's talking about. You know, back in the day, people would say, if the gospel music was too contemporary, they would ask, well, who are you really singing about? Because you never really say the word Jesus. You never say God. You're just saying, the way that you love me shows when you hold me. Who's holding you? A man or Jesus? You know, people were so crazy. I mean, God, I was so upset hearing about that stuff. I said, listen, I know who she's singing about. I love it. And if she happens to be singing about a man, so be it. Or whoever she wants to sing about. The woman can sing. It's beautiful music, and I love it. This album is probably, and there's been some arguing going on, not arguing, but people have been voicing their opinion about this on Instagram. They say that this is her favorite or her best album. And I think she's done probably, 10, 11 albums? I could be wrong. But I think her first album and this album, to me, are her best albums, in my opinion. The first album is called Be Encouraged. And then when she came out with this one, I think 3 albums later, man, oh man. And when she sings the song Somewhere, if you haven't heard it, just listen to it on YouTube. Very R&B, gospel, hip hop. You hear some rapping. I mean, this was a show enough knockout album. But she received a lot of controversy over this record. People, the church was upset. That's another story. Now, this is sure enough not contemporary. But this is probably, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is probably the best-selling gospel album of all time. Do you know who I'm talking about? The best-selling gospel album of all time, Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace, with James Cleveland and the Southern California Community Choir. This double LP set is a phenomenal listen. I think someone mentioned in my Instagram, they said this is probably the best sermon ever preached. Because she sings. And I got this on Amazon, and it was imported from Germany. And this is 180 gram. And it's really heavy. It's like, ooh, it's thick. It sounds phenomenal. And if you've not heard Amazon, if you've not heard Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace album, and if you are a vinyl lover, if you love R&B, I would recommend that you get this. But I'm sure that most of you have heard this. And there's a great movie out about Aretha Franklin somewhere on some channel, some documentary. And it spends some time about how the process of this album started and how, I won't give you the details, but there's some drama that surrounded the making of this album. But I'm glad that it got created because she wanted to do this record and she did it, and it was a hot seller and still sells today. Still sells today. Okay, finally, kiddos. Ooh, 23 minutes. That's good. Finally, look at this. Do you know this? Oh my God, this is the Miami Sound Machine. Gloria Estefan. Oh, I have the record on my turntable here at school on Epic Records. Oh, come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. No, you can control your body through that conga beat. 1985. Oh, what great music. When I saw this record in the record store in Fort Smith, Arkansas, I had to really remind myself, okay, what other songs came from this album? And as I listened to it, I remember, bad, 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 bad boy. You make me feel so good. I want you bad, 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 bad boy. You make me feel so good. I know you would. Bad boy, boys will be boys. Bad boy, bad boy. I was getting so restless. Bad boy, nothing but trouble. Remember that? Oh, I used to love that. And that video was so good. And then we have Conga. And of course we have, there's one on here that I don't know. I think it's, falling in love again. Oh, falling, falling in love again. Falling. And you made a fool of me. I mean, just great music. This is their breakout album. And when this came out, the conga, I was like, okay, wear me some congas because I'm sure going to play them. I'm going to play me some congas. And I sure did because I joined the band and we would play the congas listening to this. So this is very sentimental to me. Now that I think about it, very sentimental. Okay, everybody, those are all the records that I wanted to share with you today. And again, I apologize, it's been a long time. And I want to remind you again to recognize your child's teacher and appreciate them, as this is Teacher Appreciation Week. And you know what? I appreciate all of you, all of my subscribers. You are fantastic. Sometimes I'm like, why in the world do these people follow me? But there must be a reason. And I appreciate you for that. And as always, with music, be inspired and stay inspired.